everybody. I am Molly. I'm the COO of the ISA. Thank you all for being here tonight. Yeah, in front of you, you have a bunch of the ISA team. We are all thrilled to be here for the first third Thursdays of 2021. We made it. You might have noticed there was no like little lucky switch that you could flip at midnight on December 31st to make everything just magically happy again. But we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think there's a lot of positivity coming now. And with that, I just also want to just call to mind to still take care of yourself. We're not quite out of the woods yet. So please give yourself, we were actually, some of us talking about this just a few minutes ago. If you didn't get to learn a new language, or if you didn't paint an oil painting, or if you didn't finish that screenplay, like, it's okay. Give yourself some grace and some leeway. This is a tough time. There's enough stress in the world right now. Don't add onto it. So be gentle and kind to yourself. That is my PSA for the day. I want to thank our sponsors tonight. We have Salute Your Shorts Film Festival. They're actually giving everybody on this event a 50% off discount to submit your short to their film festival. It is not a screenplay, it is an actual produced short for their film festival. That's going to be in August. You can go to Film Freeway and use Salute ISA 50 to get 50% off of that. And then also Paige Turner Screenplays is our other sponsor, and they're giving away 10 free entries to the first 15. This contest, like it sounds, judges off the first 15 pages of your screenplay, and everybody gets feedback, which is great. They have wonderful feedback and great judges. So definitely, if you don't win tonight, still it's worth taking a look at. They're on our site, on our contest page, Paige Turner Screenplays first 15. So since we are in the first third Thursdays, we've been gone for a bit. First one of the year, I'm going to take this opportunity to give you a little bit of an overview of ISA. Some of you might be brand new to us. Some of you might have been with us for the last 10 plus years. Wherever you are in your career, we have something for everybody. So this is a community of writers, and this group that you see on screen, we are all creatives. We care about creatives and making their successes happen. And so that's why we're here. Especially these events are about community. It's a little bit different when we're online like this, but you can feel free to comment and use the chat section and connect with each other that way. And you can even private chat each other if you want to swap some info. Eventually we'll be back to live in person in 20 plus cities around the world, and then we can chat in person. But for now, this is what we've got. And this has been amazing too, because we've been able to connect with people all around the world all at the same time. So we're all about supporting you as the writers and getting your voices out there and helping you get to whatever level you're at now, helping you get to the next one. So first and foremost, go on the website and set up a profile. It's free, it's easy, and it's an online calling card. It's a great way for people to find you. You have a personal link that you can send out to whoever you want. People on our site are looking, and they can find you, and we can find you, and we can help shout out your successes. You can post your successes, your awards, your wins, your screenplays, your posters, your pitches, and on and on and on and on. A lot of it's free. Some of it is part of the ISA Connect membership, which is an upgrade. But the more you put up there, the better. The more people will be able to find you, and success begets success. There's a bunch of resources on the site and content that you can read and that you can watch, and content and resources like contests and consultants and events like this one that you can sign up for. And when you're ready to start getting your script out there and submit to contests, and you can get feedback and script notes and all of these things that will help you make your script better. And the idea is, no matter where you are in your career, even if you're at an A-list level, you're still going to want to make your career and your craft better. You always will be learning until the day you die. I'm sure Max will talk about that with his classes, but do take advantage of everything that's at your fingertips so that you can hone your craft and also the business. This is a business, so you need to really learn about how to take meetings and how to network and all of what goes into making your career successful. And then when you're ready to submit to writing gigs, you can do that. That's part of the ISA Connect membership. And when you're at the next level and you're ready to submit to the development slate, you can do that. There's something for everyone. And everybody's on this call is going to talk a little bit more about those things that I just hit on. I just wanted to give you kind of a big overview. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Max.
Welcome. It's so great to see a solid number of people here, everybody joining us from all over the country and all over the world. I had a ISA Connect webinar class yesterday. It was free for everybody, and we're still kind of running that kind of 2020 offer there where my monthly classes for ISA members are free. But I had one yesterday. We had quite a few people on there, and it was just so much fun to see everyone from all over the world. And so we're, every time we do these events, whether it's a Third Thursdays event, it's one of my ISA classes, it's a ISA Presents event on Friday. We're always so grateful that everybody's tuning in because without you, what we're doing doesn't really have as much meaning. Obviously, we're still going to do this even if there was no one listening because we believe it's important. And it is important. And that's kind of my role as far as reminding everyone, as the director of education, like Molly was saying, we need to be focusing on just improving a little bit better, a little bit more every day. We don't have to make leaps and bounds. Setting goals is necessary, but the small steps to get there have to be taken. And that was something I was talking about yesterday. Scott had a great idea to edit one of the questions that was asked about why is writing so hard. And the writer was technically slightly kidding when he asked that in the comment section. But you could see my answer. I posted it on, Scott posted it on the YouTube page, on the ISA page, I think, I can't remember. But ultimately, it's hard because there's so much work to do. And I think just accepting that understanding and then not losing the inspiration and excitement, because there's that weird balance where it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't wait to do this. And then suddenly it's a slog. And, the slog is never going to end. The excitement and the inspiration is what's going to help it make it a little bit easier. And just accepting that it's supposed to be difficult. I quoted A League of Their Own, Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own, by saying the hard is what makes it great. And if it isn't hard, then either you're a genius or I don't know if we're trying hard enough. Hopefully you're a genius. But anyway, I could ramble on and on about that, but I have monthly classes with the ISA. We host these panel events a lot. I'm going to be presenting a consultants interview series once a month where I'm going to be bringing on consultants that you've probably heard of once a month throughout the whole year. We're going to be talking about craft and style and process and voice and all these different topics. So there is a ton that we're going to be presenting to our members throughout the year, and even more than what's already on the website. And I'm sure Craig will be able to talk a little bit about that. But you should be utilizing the website. You should be on the website because we're going to be posting a lot more content there. And I need to call this out. I need to say that Scott is our editor, and he's always working so hard putting our content together. All this video content that we record for Zoom events, for my class events, for Friday events. There is so much free content on the ISA YouTube page. There's no reason not to subscribe. You just go on there and there's 750 plus videos now or something like that.
800, I think now.
I think it is 8.
Yeah. So go and subscribe and get little notifications when new videos are up there. It's the easiest way to keep track. And then of course our pro tips and tricks page on the site. So anyway, I'm taking up a lot of time, but we're happy that you're here, and we're happy that you got hopefully pen and paper next to you. You're going to take some notes on what we're chatting about tonight.
Hey, everybody, I'm Craig, the founder of the ISA. We just celebrated 13 years. Very excited about that. And we're celebrating this month and the next basically 9 months to a year, rebuilding the site and adding new features to the site. The first one is the ISA Insider page, which goes along with what Max was saying. You can go on that page and find pro tips and podcasts and articles, and Creative Screenwriting Magazine has some exclusive articles there. We have Deadline and Variety on there now. We're listing of pretty much everything. It's like a daily newspaper for all that's going on in Hollywood and improving your craft. lots of great information. We apologize if you find a bug. We just launched the page, so just bear with us. There's likely to be a little problem here or there. We're adding to the page every day and making improvements. So feel free to email us. You can email me, Craig James at Network ISA. If you find a bug on the site, happy to hear what it is. Send a screenshot. Let me know what you're seeing so we can fix it. If you're on an older computer, an older browser, whatever. But we are excited about all the great stuff that's coming in this year. And so much of it is free. Which, as Max was saying, his class was free yesterday. Now that's not always the case, but we're trying to make classes free, and then the replays for the first 10 days will be free as well. And then in order to catch a replay, you'll have to be an ISA Connect member. But if you're on top of it, like seems like a lot of people are today, you come participate live, you get potentially to ask questions, so you can ask Max questions directly or just listen to a replay later. And the reason I would encourage everybody to make sure that they're spending time on this, on that page on the ISA Insider and taking these classes, is the exact reason like the ISA came to life in 2008, 13 years ago. I've learned so much just from reading free articles, watching the pro tips, taking Max's classes. I've learned so much information that my scripts I've submitted blindly out to other competitions and to other places to get notes. The scores on my scripts have gone up significantly. And I'm very proud of them. I'm very excited about this because it's taken a long time to get, you put all your heart and soul into a screenplay. And then you send it out, and then maybe you get some notes back, maybe you don't, maybe you don't get some honest feedback, who knows, maybe it's a little critical or some angry reader, which we have the best readers, by the way. I just want to stress that on the ISA website. We vet everybody and make sure that we're giving you very constructive notes. But the point is that in taking time and spending it on reading these articles, I've learned so much about developing my stories. And there's things you just don't realize you need to know that Max will help you with, or the articles will, the pro tips will. So again, please, please, please spend some time. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. So you need to put in your time, and it's not just writing. Get the notes, read some articles, take Max's classes. If you want to upgrade then from there to ISA Connect, and we can help you take it from there, wonderful. But we encourage you to use all the free resources on the site, and that's why we're here to serve you. So it's all good stuff. So I'm going to pass it over to Felicity, because the next level of that, after you've worked and worked and worked on your script, is getting into the development slate and getting connected to the industry. So
I'm Felicity Ren. I am the VP of Development. That's the first time I've said that out loud to anybody that cares. So I've just been promoted. So thank you. I'll take a little bow. I'm very excited. And we've been working really, really hard in the development department. There's now 4 of us. It's kind of grown exponentially. It's very exciting because we want to offer real help to the writers on the development slate. The development slate is 161, just gone up to 164 actually. We had 3 meetings today of writers that have been selected for their voice, because they have something to say, because they have a story to tell, because they have an opinion, a way of telling it that is different, original, fresh, inspiring, engaging, anything. And we want to be a place where those stories can be found. And the development slate is a selection of those writers, and people are coming to find writers from us, to connect with them, to find their projects, to manage them, to hire them as writers, and to basically help their career. So the development department now, we are working one-on-one much more with our development slate writers. We're offering feedback on more than scripts that we've found through contests or referrals. If you have another script and you're on the development slate, we're going to help you with it. We'll help you with pitch materials, and we'll help you be career ready to go out into the world as a writer. We spent this last 18 months with having the best meetings with production companies and meeting people that can really help our writers and actually are looking for you. I think this idea that that we forget is that actually the producer or the production company or whoever you're in front of, they want you to be brilliant. They want you to have the best story. They want you to kind of be the person they've been looking for. They just don't know how to find you. So we're just giving them a way of finding you, the development slate. It's been a very exciting time. We cannot wait to look after more people. We just announced our top 25 for 2021. A brilliant slate of writers who, again, very individual, diverse, female forward, all with a great story to tell. And the last thing I'm going to say before I pass it on to Jordan, who can tell you ways of getting on the development slate, which is through referrals, contests, success stories. We're watching. Honestly, if you post a success story, we're reading it, we're watching, we're looking for you. Is that I was contacted by a manager who has just taken on 6 of our development slate writers. And he said, I have never found anywhere where I could find such a resource for the kind of stories that you're telling and the kind of writers you have found. And I felt very inspired by that. It made us look brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody. And I want you to understand that they want to find you. We want to help that happen. We want to make these introductions. We want to build this community. And you could be on that development slate. You just have to persevere. You have to enter contests. You have to post your success stories. Let us know you're there, and then we'll come and find you and hopefully help you.
I help do contests for ISA. I help coordinate them and run them with our administrator, Jeffrey. He's not on tonight, but he does a great job. All of the feedback you guys receive from us is read and meticulously reviewed by me and Jeffrey. So we are always hoping that you guys like that feedback and that it helps you guys. Few announcements for contests. We have a bunch of launches coming. We have more launches this year than I know what to do with. So you guys are going to have so many contests and so many opportunities to shine. But coming up soon, we have we're launching ES genre, so emerging screenwriters genre. That's on January 27th. And then we are doing something a little bit special. We hope to open 2 genre competitions on February 9th, which are going to be a drama and a comedy competition. And what's very exciting about them is that we're going to have a genre buster prize. So the idea will be that you'll submit a drama, but if you think it's also the greatest Western ever written, well, then let us know that. And if we think it's just the greatest dramatic Western ever, you might win that prize and you might, get all the accolades that go along with it. We're also doing a logline competition that launches on February 17th. And then we have a couple deadlines coming up. So get your stuff prepared and turned in for Fast Track, which is coming up on February 16th. And then Table Read Genre's final deadline is coming up on February 18th. And both of those competitions offer fantastic prizes, including a bunch of general meetings with industry executives, as well as consideration for the ISA development slate, which is big, as Felicity just said. It's very exciting. And of course, offers you year-round support with our development department.
I'm Scott Marcus. I am the Senior Content Manager of the ISA. A new title as well that I'm very proud of. I'm very, very proud to work with this organization, this family of friends. And just a quick moment aside, just to say that I hope you guys can appreciate how much fun we all have doing this. I think that's what's really important all the time. Molly had really an important and great message where she said not to put too much pressure on yourself. And for me to add on to that, I know writing and being creative can be a slog. As the editor, I know how much of a slog getting product out all the time is. But every once in a while, it's really good to take a second to yourself and realize and remind yourself, hey, I actually love doing this. So bring that joy back to your work any chance you get. If you're stuck on one thing, but something else brings you some joy, use the other way of writing or another way of creating to bring that joy. So there's my little my go get 'em before I talk a little bit more about what I do. So yes, Molly and Craig and Max had mentioned our pro tips and tricks page where we do have 800 plus videos out on that page within our site. I will be posting links in the chat when I'm done talking. but those videos incorporate us going out and doing red carpet interviews with people, or sit down longer form conversations, or these live events that you see. As Craig said, they're free for everybody for a while, and then eventually our live event ones, they become an ISA Connect only feature. But in general, there's so much content on our page and our YouTube page. Another part of the ISA Insiders page is our podcast. And I just want to use this opportunity to completely plug something Max and I just put out. How many people, whether in the chat or live, remembers back in the 90s watching Dr. Katz on Comedy Central? That animated series. We just interviewed Jonathan Katz, who created that show. Max and I usually do a lot darker material where we tell ghost stories and other spookier things, but I mean, we absolutely loved having, I come from a world of working in comedy clubs, so it was so much fun to have a comic come on and kind of lighten the mood for us a little bit, be a palate cleanse. So in addition to ours, we do have a lot, that one, Fantastic Story Society, we do have a lot of other podcasts that list with us, both outside organizations and more original content that the ISA puts out. And that area is going to grow and grow and grow. So if you're into podcasts, definitely keep an eye on that and subscribe. And yeah, when it comes to content, not only are we creating original content like that, but I'm also going out and inviting great new organizations to list with us. So I oversee the contests, and the contest pages have been growing. And unlike a lot of other places out there where you can find contests, everything that comes to us gets vetted first. So not just anybody can list with us. So you can trust that when you submit your script to a contest that's on our site, it has gone through a vetting process. And so it's exciting that we grow, because we say no to more people than we say yes to at this point, but we are growing. We have an animation festival that just went live this week, and another one called the ICU Festival that just went live. But Paige Turner is the one I want to talk a little bit about today. As Molly mentioned, they are one of our sponsors, and first off, they are for feature scripts and also pilots, and you're submitting your first 15 pages. So what a interesting way to get that kind of feedback. Maybe you just want to know, am I actually hooking my audience or not? And of course, they do something that most of you have probably seen Craig's video on Pro Tips and Tricks, because that is our most famous video, talking about how to use notes from competitions to know where your screenwriting is at. And of course, Paige Turner, they're also a big believer in giving feedback and notes. So that's why, you know, we like to partner with organizations that share similar philosophies. So after all of that babbling, I will pass us off to Danielle, who is damn near an alchemist with all the great design work she does.
Scott. Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm our creative director. I work on the website as well as ISA Connect. We have a lot going on the website this upcoming year. As soon as March, you're going to see some dramatic, exciting changes, improvements to our current resources, as well as a new look and feel. And this is going to include a dashboard for you to better manage your scripts, contest submissions, gig submissions, as well as having articles and advice, podcasts, news, all of that tailored specifically to you based on your preferences, the genres that you write in, the categories of your scripts. So we're really looking forward to making the account work better for you as a writer. Also check out ISA Insider, which Craig mentioned. We do now have feeds from Variety and Deadline, and those are catered specifically to articles that are just in screenwriting and film and TV. So yeah, stay tuned for some exciting website announcements.
Hi guys, I'm Carissa. I am the marketing and social media manager. And I know we've taken up a lot of your time and you probably want to hear from the leadership coach. So I'm going to keep this really short and sweet. We are doing a Twitter giveaway. All you have to do is go to Network ISA, tweet us your favorite piece of advice, anything you heard from our lovely team members here, anything you want. And then we will choose the winners next week. And as Molly mentioned earlier, it's for the Paige Turner screenplays first 15. So they will be judging the first 15 pages of your screenplay. So exciting, get some good feedback, and be sure to follow us on social. And we have a new social coordinator. Her name is Caitlin. She's the best. She's doing all her magic behind the scenes. So give it up for Caitlin. We love her. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shayna Webber. I'm the senior manager of production and events, which, you know, both of those things are very small right now. But very excited in the next couple minutes to introduce our special guest tonight, Sarah Hosein, and get a pen and paper ready. Get your questions ready. We're going to be able to, answer some questions in the Q&A. But before we start, I want to just tell you about a couple upcoming events that we have soon. Next week on January 28th, which I believe is Thursday, I want you guys to step in, as I tell my 4-year-old, put on your big boy pants, put on your brave suit, whatever it is, and join us for this really cool sort of, they're calling it Networking Roulette. It's with JHRTS, which is the junior membership division of the Hollywood Radio and Television Society. We've done an event with them last year, a live event. But this is going to be kind of a cool way for you to jump on, and we'll do some, I forget what they call them on Zoom, the side rooms. And you're going to just be in a room talking to new people and meeting new people. And sometimes that's super terrifying, but just put yourself out there, because these are people that you want to know. And maybe you're going to meet somebody who you really click with, and then you become friends with, and then you have a new friend, But it's also just great to put yourself out there, try something new, try something that kind of scares you a little bit or terrifies you, quite honestly. Yeah, breakout rooms, thank you. Thank you very much. Just come do it, just try it. I promise you, when you're done, you're gonna be like, that was horrible, but it was great. And I feel all these feels and, so anyway. And then the next one after that coming up for events on February 5th, I am going to be speaking to Bill Kelly. He is a screenwriter, and he wrote Disney's Enchanted, the one with Amy Adams. He wrote Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser, if you guys remember that movie, and also Premonition with Sandra Bullock. He's got a bunch of other things going on, but he's awesome. And I think he's just going to give some really good insight on being a working screenwriter and making his way, through the industry. And then we haven't put it up on the site yet, but on March 3rd, we are going to do a class with Paul Shirley, and it is how to build a writing process you can count on. Welcome, Sarah Hosein. She is a leadership and career coach. And the reason that we wanted to bring Sarah on as our special guest today is because it's 2021. We're all trying to get through this process. We're all trying to write in this crazy time, or get something finished, or get something started. And there's all kinds of roadblocks that get in our way, whether they're, within your household or mentally, or, anything all over the place. Like, you can come up with reasons why you can't start, why you can't get finished, why you're not motivated, all of that. So we wanted to bring Sarah on to give us some actual practical tips on how to manage yourself in this new year and get yourself going and motivated. So before we get started through sort of our discussion topics, Sarah, why don't you just give us a little background about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm so happy to be here. I feel so welcome to this global community. And I have a global background myself. I am Trinidadian Irish by background. I grew up in the UK. I grew up in Wales, and I grew up in the USA. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. And then since then, I've sort of lived all over the world. I now live in Brooklyn, in New York City. I was in Boston before that. And so these sort of global experiences that I've had inform my coaching work today, very much so. I've had 10 jobs over the course of the last decade or so. And that's been 4 different cities and 3 countries. And so as we talk today about career transition, I've made a lot of them myself in all sorts of different ways, in all sorts of different moods. And so I'm excited to share some of those tips along the way. And thank you for having me here today.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I actually found Sarah through a Facebook women's entrepreneurship page, and I posted something, she reached out, and kind of that's how things happen sometimes, So first of all, okay, so we are going to go through 4 scenarios that maybe go on in a writer creator's mind that can stop them from pushing forward or getting the work done that they need to work. And then sometimes that sort of, domino effects into just staying where you're at. So what we want to do is get everybody motivated and feel inspired to use some of your tips to get themselves going in whatever they're doing. And you know what? If you don't feel like it and you're having a hard time, then just hold on to these tips until later and use them when you're feeling up to it. So no pressure to be, 100% efficient right now. Okay, so the first one that, hold on, someone's walking here. The first discussion topic that we were talking about. So kind of here's a scenario. Every week that goes by, I feel like I don't have time to get done what I need to do, or I have so much time on my hands and I don't know where to focus. I don't know what to do first. I don't know how to put things in order. What can I do?
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge this point around there's always so much to do, or there's not enough. And we still have to wake up every day and make choices about how we're going to spend our time, because we're going to do something. And so we also have a huge opportunity every day. So we don't have to always think when we're going into 2021, let's make these grand goals, right? Because to your point, these are the daily scenarios. And so what we're going to do today is very like, you wake up in the morning, this is what you do. And so one thing I do every week, and this, we could even do it now, it shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes. But if you think about the week ahead and you're saying to yourself, I need to get something done. I need to start that project. I need to reach out to somebody. Oh, I should have done it last week, didn't get to it, had all this other stuff, and you kind of just get yourself in a mess.
Wait, are you listening in my house right now? Because like this is
yeah, right.
This,
yeah,
this is me every day. Oh shoot, I should have done that. Oh no.
Right, and you have like your to-do list, and they're all like, here and there and everywhere. Just take a pause and get a piece of paper and do this. Write yes and no, and 1, 2, 3, 3 yeses, 3 nos. And what you're going to do is set your intention. Then you're going to say, in order to make this intention happen, in order to get there, what am I saying yes to doing? And it can be very simple things. And the way I like to think about it, it's both about how we're being, how we're approaching things with what kind of spirit, and we can talk more about sort of positive mindset, but also the actions you're going to take. So I'm yes to sitting down at my desk from 10 to 12. And I know that you're all going to roll your eyes and be like, I try and do that every day, Sarah, but you're just going to write it down. I say yes to 10 to 12. I say yes to having 1 to-do list and not 5. I don't know, Shayna, what else do you say yes to? I say yes to, I'm gonna make like a nutritious breakfast. I don't know. What's your yes for this week?
I'm going to do that, at least one outreach email to somebody I've been putting off emailing.
Right. So you're going to need to be like, I say yes to sitting at my computer and doing that task before I do anything else. Okay. And the reason then we do a no list is because we're very good at distracting ourselves. So yeah, we have all these great, I'm going to do this, it's going to be fantastic. But we have to say no to things. We have to say no to, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to, watch this TV program. I'm not going to actually go and take my walk, even though I'm not going to do that until I've done this other task. And so
I'm not going to look at Twitter.
Not going to look at Twitter. Not going to look at Twitter. Not going to, right? I'm not going to take my phone to bed. I'm not going to take my computer to, I'm not going to do these things. And so you have your 3 yeses, your 3 nos, and that's your plan for the week to get to that one intention, because it's a myth that we can write all these to-do lists. We can say we're going to get it done and we'll distract ourselves. And this is a way to make a small commitment back to showing yourself some grace, but also persevering. This is how you do it. This is how you take that action, but you do it every week. And that's what I'm saying around, you always have an opportunity. And this isn't a get out. We can talk about accountability as a coach. That's what I do, but we have to, build the self accountability first. And at least then we have a frame of reference to say, yeah, I really did that this week. I really didn't do that quite well. And, we'll talk later on about, how to build this accountability around you and sort of how to make sure it happens. But it's just a nice little starting point. And that's what I'm all about, is the starting point, not the, as I was saying, the grand plan for the week and saying like, I'm so busy and I'm going to take it. Not going
I'm going to do all 32 things on my list. I have a question though about this no list.
Yeah.
So can you put things on your no list that are things that are like rolling around in your brain that you're just setting up that like, okay, this is not something I'm going to focus on. Like it's sort of a bigger future thing. So I'm taking that off of my, like taking the pressure off. Can you put things like that on your no list?
Yeah, you can. You know, we all have to reprioritize every week, and this is part of your prioritization. So something on your no list could be that, right? You're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to attend that event that I thought, not this one, because we're all here for this one. I'm not going to attend that event because I need to prioritize this. It's just a way to shape how you're prioritizing with actually calling it prioritization, because sometimes that doesn't feel very exciting for people. But again, this shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes. And that's what I'm all about too. Yeah. And I just see the comment, mental and physical no less. Yes, it's back to how are you being in the world? How are you showing up for yourself? How you're saying like, I'm going to say this mantra every morning, or I'm going to write this, so many different things that people do. But I'm also going to take the actions that I need to take. So it's both married together.
I love that, because I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves. And I think sometimes just allowing yourself to, one, see the word no, because a lot of times we just don't allow ourselves to even see the word no. We're like, yes, 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 yes. And then once you don't complete everything, you're like, so I've let myself down, or I might as well just not keep going because, I didn't get these things accomplished.
Yes. And and we can talk more about this. You can say this. I say no to thinking I'm not good enough. I just say no. Every time I think I can't do this, I can't sit and stuff, I'm just saying no to it. I'm just not going there. And it's just for a week. So you can go back to giving yourself that pause. You can just for this minute, I'm going to say no to that.
Yeah. Awesome. So are we going to go to tool number 2 for that? Describe self-assessment approach.
Yeah, so the other thing I like to couple this with, and I've tried this with a few different groups and lots of different industries, and I have the pleasure to having family and friends who are also in the film industry, some of who are here today, and so I was testing this out on them. And so when we think about a self-assessment, everyone goes, oh my, Sarah, I do not want to talk to you anymore. I just self-assessment, this sounds terrible, or like SWOT analyses, right? Your strengths and weaknesses, not going there. What I like to do is just take the word self, and the way that I split it up is I say self each week. This is what it means. So S means specialist, and I'll go through them and like write them down. Again, this is a 5-minute exercise. Specialist means in this moment, as me, what am I brilliant at? What did I absolutely get done last week? Because I had all that great yes list. What did I do brilliantly? I really don't need to focus on this week because I'm just absolutely okay with that part of my life, my career, whatever it may be. So that's S for specialist. Then we think about Energize, so E. And the way I like to think about Energize is very simply just like what gets you out of bed in the morning. And this isn't, writing the script. Maybe it is if you're, fully committed and you're in that right mindset. But usually it's like, it's something that really kind of lifts you up each day. So what energizes you? So writing that part of the list down, saying, like, why am I getting out of bed this morning? And then L, and I think somebody was talking about this earlier. I'm sorry, I don't know all your names yet.
Okay.
Learning. So, no matter how far we are into our careers, there's always the next thing to learn, the next person to reach out to, the next thing to take on. And this is both in our, our whole lives, right? Our personal, professional lives. But what is the next thing I really want to learn? And it can be really small things like, I don't know, when I became a coach, and I'm only saying this because of what you all do, I had to learn how to like edit videos, which I had no absolute clue how to do. But that was like the thing that I had to commit to and learn to start my coaching business, even though that's not my specialist skill at all. And then F is focus. So the F for focus is absolutely what you have to get done. And so it should link back to your yeses for the week. And so this is another way to reinforce what am I getting done, but not doing all the stuff that you're already really good at. you know, because then we'll fill all our time with the stuff that we are either good at or is easy or we kind of just like enjoy, and sort of keeping that learning focus, persisting in this way with this kind of learning and energy, and saying, look, and also with this recognition of I'm really good at something, I really did something well, really helps to just like kind of lift us up, and not saying like, again, like these long to-do lists, like you were saying, that we never get done. And so I just think that sort of taking this sort of this self acronym and just sort of passing it out and saying like, what does my week need to look like, and therefore what am I saying yes and no to get that focus. So it kind of goes together nicely. And again, like it should just take 10 minutes, like maybe some of you on the chat have done it now, but this is just something that I do every week, and the people I work with, we always start the week with, hey, you know, what does your list look like? What does your self look like? And what are you saying yes and no to? And it can be a slower, more considered process too. It also depends on the way that you work, and, you know, you can kind of refine it as you go along. So.
Right. And it's great because it's a way you get to be completely selfish because no one else is seeing this. So you get to really be truthful. And I think that a lot of times we tend to be a little flowery, and like, you know, when like you sit down, you're like in a journal and it's like, I'm in a journal, it's going to be so pretty in my pretty notebook or whatever. And just be like super honest about, you know, I'm going to say no to, you know, wasting my own time reading Twitter. I mean, there's a theme with me, right? It's like you get on your phone, you're like, I'm going to play this game on my phone. And then half an hour goes by and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah. And the computer one about not taking my computer to bed, that was one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
One of my clients did that on her no list yesterday. And then her other no list was like, I'm only using social media for my business between these hours, right? Because she's trying to launch it. And so she's not just going to do the scrolling. And so it's very intentional, but it also, like you said, gives you a little bit of room, but it's so self-focused that you just don't have to say, oh, like I have to present this to someone. It's just like
right.
list, but it's not, I'm just not a fan of the like laborious list that you never get to because they just don't work. So I love the 5-minute exercises where you can actually just get something done for yourself for the week.
And what a great way, like open up a new notebook. We all have notebooks lying around that we don't want to start using because they're too pretty or perfect, or we don't start with one of these. Yeah. And do your yes and no's. I love that. Do your yes and no's and do your self-assessment and keep doing that. And then you get to look back in a couple months and go, oh, this is interesting. This is where I started and here I am now. And those are always great ways to check yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So should we go on to number 2?
Yeah.
And remember, anyone, if you have questions as we're going, put them in the Q&A box. And at the end, we're going to get to some questions with Sarah. And also stay till the end because Sarah's going to give you a way that you can work with her and a discount. Okay, so scenario number 2 is, I mean, I feel like at some point, all of us have felt like this, like, I'm just not good enough, or I'm never going to make it, or what's the point of writing this screenplay because I'm just, so many people are better than me, or so many people are more successful than me.
Yes, we all
self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. And so here's the interesting thing about self-sabotage. In one day, you can say, I've got this, I'm really doing it, I'm going. And then the next minute you're like, no, I'm gonna go hide into my desk and I can't possibly do this. And so this is all to say that we have to have ways to catch ourselves and acknowledge when we're going through these things, and acknowledge that we have choices and power over our situations, which I know I can say to you, and you might say, yeah, I get it, but I still feel like I'm not good enough. So let's talk about this. So when we're in these zones and we're like, oh, I just can't, like this person already did the thing that I was planning on doing, and I was meant to do this 6 months ago, we're then an even bigger judge of ourselves. We never bring this like self-compassion to the situation, or
one person gives you some negative feedback, or one person says something.
Oh, yeah. One person says something and then you're like, oh yeah, that, and then you're like, oh, well, that's what I've known about myself the whole time. Oh, of course, now this all makes sense why I just can't make it in this world, right? And you kind of just keep on judging yourself and bringing this negativity to the table. And so here's the thing to say is that, and we don't say it enough, we all get this, we all experience it, no matter how confident anybody looks. And I work with like ultra high achievers who are like sitting at really powerful boards. No, they all are like, I'm not going to that meeting. I can't speak to that person. And as you say, it can be because of interactions. And so we have to have ways to catch ourselves. And the way I like to think about it is you have to actually kind of name the voice which is in your head. And so sometimes the voice is kind of like this, it's kind of like a victim voice. And this isn't to say that it's bad or good, but it just is kind of like, I never get what I want. I'm never going to get what I want. I keep doing the thing. Right. It's kind of like this.
I call it the poor me voice.
Right. The poor
like,
me.
Poor me.
Yeah. And,
and then it's kind of funny.
Right, it's there. And then, right, you can make it sound funny too. And then there's this voice, right, which is like this hyper achievement, which I'm sure many of you have, which is like more, gonna go get it, right, well, I rise to the top as quick as I can, get to the next big thing, chase. And this is this voice of hyper achievement. Another voice, which you may have, and a lot of people have it in their kind of family lives, this kind of pleaser voice of like, oh, I need to be there for everyone. And that's why I can't get my stuff done, because I'm just like there for everyone all the time.
Right.
And the reason that I characterize these voices or talk about these voices is that naming them and really having an awareness of how each one sounds different means that you can sort of intercept them in different ways. And so the ways of intercepting them is a few. One is, as we broadly talk about, is this kind of self-compassion piece. But one is to really think in the moment, how can I bring like innovation to the table here? Like, how can I really think about this situation differently? Or how can I allow this degree of empathy and say, actually, yeah, I didn't get to that, but look at all this other stuff I got to. And so to give you a real life example, because otherwise I think it can feel like very abstract. Okay.
Right.
So when I'm giving talks like this, and say like everybody's heads are on screen, and so I show up at the talk, and then I see someone like yawning, okay, and they're like yawning, right? One voice in my head, that voice of like hyper achievement, could be like, oh, I mustn't have prepared enough. I'm clearly not very engaging. That's why that person's yawning. The other thing that I can do, which is what I do now, is say, no, that person's not reacting to me. They're just really tired and they like really didn't get a good night's sleep. And so I don't then, to your point, and that's why I give this example, I don't take on what's going on around me as much, right? But I also do the work beforehand to predict maybe what's going to happen to me. And so the exercise and the kind of planning I like to do is say, what scenarios am I in where this like judging voice comes in? Okay, so my one was that, right? Like heads on the screen, then no one's going to listen, everyone's going to think it's boring. What am I going to do, right? And then I predict it and I say, well, this is what I'm going to do when this happens. And so if a nice starting point, because it can be, there's lots of exercises I do with my clients to kind of really name the voices. And to your point, you can kind of make it funny too, because you're like, oh my gosh, go away, that voice, is just to write down like 3 scenarios. It can be like a conversation you're having with your mother. It can be, the person you're about to reach out to who really you really have a lot of respect for, and you're not sure whether they're going to give you what you want. And you're like, then you're going to be like, oh, I didn't present myself in a good way. And then you say, what is the other perspective that I can really bring to this situation, and really bring that other voice. But you have to do this in advance, because in the moment, we're no good at it. Because in the moment, and you're in a conversation with somebody, whoever it may be, you're going to just go there because it's our default. And our defaults are so well embedded. Right. Like I talk to people like going to interviews all the time, and they're like, I totally mess. And they can't even recall what they were thinking, because you're just so caught up in it, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of just going through these scenarios and saying like, all right, when I'm in that situation, this is the usual place I go to of judgment and thinking I didn't do enough. And this is maybe another way for me to think about it. So when you're actually there, you have a different frame of reference. So start with like 3 scenarios and like go for your like most common, like most judge voice scenarios, and then kind of see what you come up with, because there is definitely another way.
I think that's especially important since a lot of meetings now are on Zoom and we can see our own face and it's really distracting. I think sometimes those scenarios are like, sometimes you think like, oh, I look terrible. So that's one to like run through your brain. Like, you don't, you look fine. I'm sure, you know. I like those. And I think I tend to do that just in a little bit of a different way. Like I will think of the worst case scenario. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen when I'm speaking to so-and-so? And then, you know, or I'm pitching something or I'm having a meeting. And the worst thing that can happen is usually like, and then I figure out how I'm going to mentally deal with that. And then it really never turns out as bad as what I think it's going to be. So then I can focus on sort of the positive stuff. Well, this did happen and that did happen, because I've already cleared the way of like, well, if they say no, then okay, they said no, but I survive a meeting and I'll go on to the next person, you know?
Yeah, and I love what you're pointing to around, once again, that you have a choice within this around what perspective you're going to bring. And often like the first perspective and like maybe that worst case scenario is actually just our first perspective of like doom, because we're like, well, it's happened before, right? And we pick up on all these negative experiences that we have and we're like, oh, it's going to happen again. But we always have a choice. And there's so many different ways that I work with people to say, like, this is how you can actually choose to name different perspectives right now in the moment. And I don't know, you're writers, there's so many different ways that you're seeking out inspiration all the time. And you can do the same with your mindset. You can pick up, I love doing fun exercises where you can pick up any object that you have around you. And we can talk about like, what do you really see in that object? What kind of, what are the feels of that object? And therefore, what kind of perspective can you bring to this situation? And it's a way to show you how much control that you have. And it's like hilarious because you're like picking up,
like, what's an example of that?
Like even if I look around me, like, let me pick something up. Okay, here you go. Here is this was my Christmas tree, my kind of wooden Christmas tree.
Cute.
And when you look at this Christmas tree, you can say, okay, what do I see? And so, like, Shayna, what do you see?
I see wood.
See wood. It's a tree. It's handmade, so it's got like a, you know, it's a one-off.
It's quirky.
It's quirky. Yeah, it's like solid, right? It's kind of like sits here. It's not going to fall down. Okay, and so, and this exercise can take a few minutes, but even if we do it quickly, it's art. I see someone writing. Yeah, it's art. It's kind of it used to be something else and now it's something new. Okay, so these are like very simple things that we can say about this. And then if we take a situation that you were just naming, so name your situation that you were just talking about.
In a meeting, in a pitch meeting.
Okay, so you're in a pitch meeting and you're like, this, what are you gonna say? This is like not gonna go well. Right,
they're gonna say no. Yeah. They're gonna think I'm ridiculous or my idea is awful.
Yeah, I'm gonna like fumble my words. I speak too fast. They're not gonna, right? So then you can say this tree. All right, when you look at this tree and we talk about all those qualities that we just named, it's upright. It's a piece of art. It's like self-made, right? It's gonna like stand here, stand strong, and it's beautiful. And no matter what happens to me in this meeting, all those things remain true, right? And you can sort of bring these qualities to thinking about your situation. You're just going to stand tall as the tree, right? And like, it seems like a little abstract, but actually when you use it as a tool to say, right, I actually can shift my perspective by bringing some new words, some new ways of thinking and being and acting, then at least I can predict how I can. It's all about kind of this planning piece and realizing you can just be different in the moment. So there's my little fun exercise, and you can pick up all sorts of things. You can pick up any object, but bringing this sense of kind of playing with things and bringing this kind of fun and not just being like doom and gloom and then expecting to feign happiness and like, oh no, it's going to be fine, isn't going to be the way to combat this. You have to kind of actively make these shifts in perspective and just look around and be like, all right, there's a bigger scene here. There's a bigger set of perspectives for me to choose from.
It's like grounding yourself.
Exactly. Right. Super grounded.
See? Grounding yourself. So there you go. I know I'm thinking of all kinds of things now. I'm like, it's art. It might not be for everyone.
There you go.
Guess what? You bought it. It's art.
This pitch might not be for everyone, but it will be. Right.
But it's art and art's subjective.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. Glad I kept my Christmas tree for now.
I like it. Okay, so our next discussion topic is the idea that this is something that I know holds a lot of people back, that we get a lot of questions about, that everyone's sort of like, it's like the mystery that everyone's wondering, like, how do I network? I don't have the right contacts, even if I finish this script, even if I finish this project, and it's the greatest thing ever written, I don't have anyone to give it to. So how do you work with people on their networking and finding the right contacts?
Yeah, I love this question. And I think that when I get asked this question, people are like ready, right? They're ready with their and they're like, all right, who do you know? How
so you're gonna like hand over your Rolodex.
Yeah, you're gonna hand And here's the thing about it. It's draining, it's bewildering, it's all these things. And it comes with this heaviness. And we all know that. But it's just to acknowledge that this term networking, again, there's a reframe for us to do around this. And here's the other thing. We can't expect that we're going to, do our best work and then present it to the world and we'll suddenly network and it will all be there, right? We have to take everything that we've been talking about today, consistent action and not linear action, right? We have to broaden the way that we think about things. And so, because in all my different jobs and careers, it was like, all right, how do I submit this job application? How do I find this person? Or who do I know? When I moved cities, I didn't know anyone. I was like, well, I'm never going to get a job there. Nobody knows me and all these things. And the way I had to think about it was like, all right, well, where am I starting from? And how can I broaden from here? So it's not just like one at a time. And so again, I'm going to give you a word because I'm like really into this right now. So this word I have is live. Okay. And the way I think about networking is that it's multifold. It's not just getting that person who's going to get you the ultimate signing the document script, right? It's not that. It's how do you keep building? And so L, so there's another learn in here. So L for learn. This is about who can you find to gather information and to support you. This is your mentors. This is all the people at the ISA who just offered you all this wonderful help. This is your learning. This is your community building. And we'll talk more about community building. This is coaching if you choose to pursue that. But these are the people that you surround yourself where you can keep on learning and sort of go through this discovery. And then I is for interest. So you were talking earlier about going to the networking event that I think you have coming up and how it's like, oh no, it's like super daunting. What do I do? Who am I going to meet? Who am I going to say? Find commonalities, find things that you both just like, right? Like just figure out something that you have a common interest in, because that's really where we always start to make true connection. It's not like, well, who do you know? What do you do? Right? Like how many times are we all thinking when, you meet someone at a party and everyone's like, well, the thing is, they say to me, well, where are you from? Where are you really from? What do you really do? What, right? And then it's just like this drill. Fine, just ask some open questions, come with this curiosity and just ask them how they spend their day. And you'll find something to just make that slight connection, that slight gelling with. So that's another thing I would say when you think about networking. And then V is for value. And so the way I think about value is, where can you give? How can you make right? You might be like, I can't make connections, Sarah. I need the connections. You can make connections for someone. I know you can. How can you host something? How can you be the person who's building something of a community, right? So I have groups of coaches that I'm part of, right? I've started some of them, I'm part of some that support me in my learning and growth and along the way. And again, this is back to, this isn't going to be like an instant. And so don't wait on it. So show up to this ISA networking event, because you'll start to build this sense of, you know, what are the common interests, but this value, where can I just keep bringing the value that I have to give, whatever that may be. And then experience. When you think of networking, everyone's like, oh, right? Like, I need to find the person at the right time, go get it, right? This is going to be this extremely stressful way that like judge voice is going to come in if you do it like that. You need to be ultra specific. Like, what are you actually asking the person? And right, because otherwise, what are you asking, and what value can you give? And it's not because it has to be an even exchange. That's not what I mean. It's just to show that you really have a good sense of who you are, what you have to give, and what you really want and need in this moment. Not, you know, the ultimate grand plan and you're like pitching them your next big, like, what do I need? I need this specific thing. Be very clear, because it's not everything, and it's not what you need in 10 years, it's what you need right now. Right. And then it will build and build and build. And so I like to use that acronym as just a starting point again to say, how do we broaden, and how do we become more connected? This isn't about finding and grabbing and go. This is, like you were saying earlier, just is about showing up, but thinking about networking in a much more, you know, intertwined way, but also around like, what do I have to give in this moment? And you'll get just a ton more out of it. And you'll, like you were saying, you'll probably make some new friends, because you'll figure out I don't know, like the same, I was going to say cricket team. And then I was like, well,
maybe not.
I was like, not the right audience.
But if you do find that person, then yes.
Any of you love cricket, I'm a huge West Indian cricket fan, so come get me. And so, yes, that's where I would sort of start. Yeah.
I think that there's like, if we go back to that like networking thing that I talked about earlier, the event, I think that there's like two types of networking. So when I go into a networking scenario, I think really small. I think of, and I set my intentions very small, because then if I succeed more than meeting one person, all I want to do when I walk into something is meet one new person who I actually like as a person. Yeah. And I don't ask them for anything. Yeah. And I don't pitch myself like needing something from them, but it's like, I just want to make one connection with a cool person that I think is interesting. And that's sort of like where I set that. And truthfully, like, we have to congratulate ourselves on tiny, tiny victories like that. If you meet one person, that person, it might not be tomorrow that they're going to help you, but they might be somebody who helps you 10 years later, 5 years later, because you've kept that contact and you actually like each other and they like you, and they, you know, it's not transactional. You actually want to make a connection. And I think that a lot of times people get turned off when you come to them and you're like, well, what can you do for me? And I need this from you. It's like, you just got to start really small and just create connections with people. And a lot of times that starts with, you know, if you have to go by yourself, but have someone come with you, your friend that you're really comfortable with, that you guys are interesting, and someone will come up to you and start talking to you guys, you know?
Yes. It's just like, bring your like truest, like fun self. Like, you don't have to suddenly change into some, you know, ultra professional, got my 10-second, whatever it's called these days, elevator pitch, right? You know, I train because that's what a ton of people will tell you to do, is be like, go be, you know, this and that. And it's just not like, you know, these connections come with us along the way. And like I was saying, I have, you know, friends who are in the film industry and family members, and that's not my industry, but look, I'm here today, and these connections come with us, and they're so meaningful, and our mentors come from so many different parts of our lives that we have no idea when we'll need them. And to think that we can kind of just kind of grab them at when we need is not, it's just kind of not the way to be in the world, right, in general. And so just show up to networking and just be like giving and generous, and bring that sense of community building, and kind of just being there and being like, you know what, everyone else is kind of in the same thing. So yeah, talk about the cricket match, or you'll think of me now at the cricket.
Exactly. Greg is asking in the chat, what's the best platform for networking besides ISA, of course. Thanks, Greg. If I was going to jump in for writers and filmmakers, film festivals are amazingly positive places to go and watch films and be interested in what's happening. And if you like a movie, find the person afterwards, because filmmakers are there often, and introduce yourself. And there is an instant thing to talk about, is their film. You can tell them what you like, what inspired you, or what you're working on. It's a great place to meet people. And they're in every city across the country. And yeah, I mean, for me, that's like a really great place to begin. And it's in your craft. So you're going to learn. It's like all the things you're going to learn. What, you're going to learn new skills there. You're going to meet people who are like-minded. It's just a really easy way to sort of jump in somewhere that's friendly. So.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you're saying about kind of just be curious, right? And kind of just be committed to that moment of kind of enjoyment, and ask questions and kind of find the person, right? You don't have to, that's kind of all you have to do. And I have a special shout out to Jacksonville Film Festival, my hometown. I've been to that festival a number of years, and it's so wonderful. So even I have experience of that.
I've met some great friends at film festivals. I mean, it's such a great place to go. And who doesn't love films? And you get to see really different types of films and meet people. It's great. Okay, so let's get to our last topic, which is what are the ways that screenwriters can, speaking of networking, contact you, work with you, take all of these steps, farther through the process. How can someone contact you and work with you, and what are ways that you work with people?
Yeah, I work with people in a few different ways. One is, you can start, I do, as I was saying, I have these weekly videos where I sort of give tips on career direction, so you can get more of a sense of my style of doing things. But there's a couple of ways. One is sort of one-on-one, so it'd kind of feel like this, and we sort of I take you through sort of a program for 3 or 6 months where we're really working on these pieces around mindset and sort of what your direction is for yourself, and sort of really embed these ways of sort of taking consistent action. And so I have a package where I work with people who are self-employed or own their own businesses. It's called the Self-Starter Package. And that's a really fun one to kind of just really, I think we were talking about this earlier, just kind of really say, how do we just keep making the choice to do this and say, this is what I really want to be doing, but this is how I'm going to sort of get there, so that you can really kind of get to these endpoints. So it's really, it's a really fun process. So that's one way, sort of one-on-one. And then another way, which is super fun, is sort of a group setting. So kind of doing the virtual, and that's fun because it's kind of the global setting too. And so I have people I work with from all over. And I'm launching a program called, it's really, well, there's 2 different programs I'm launching, but I think the one that would be most interesting is how do you start running your career like it's your own business? And that's really a sense of how do you grab hold of something, and how do you say, like, I'm absolutely doing this and I'm giving this my all. And it's not just to say like, oh yeah, like I really want this, Sarah, like how do I get that? It's like, okay, how are we taking all these steps week on week? And so I'm launching a 6-week program in the 3rd week of February. And so details are on my website. And then for both those things, my individual and my group coaching, anybody who's part of the ISA gets 15% off. And so the way you can sign up is just on my website. And so I think you can find details of that through the ISA. It's just sarahhosein.com, or you can set up a call with me. We can talk through sort of what would work for you and kind of tailor something depending on where you are and thinking about your career, or something specific you're trying to get done in a shorter period of time. So there's a few different ways that I work with people.
What do you say to people who, like, when somebody says to me, you should go to a career coach or like leadership coach or something like that, instantly I get that like thing, and I feel like I'm being asked to go to a therapist, or like, you know what I mean? So how how would you tell me to sort of break through that wall? My timer thing's going off. Break through that wall and sort of like get over that. What I like to think of is I look at it like it's a mountain, and it's actually really like a little bicycle, like a speed bump, where you're looking at this giant thing. So how would you encourage somebody to sort of get over that feeling of like, oh God, now I have to be accountable, and now I have to like, but I want to, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And here's the thing, it would feel like this. This is what coaching would feel like. It's not like, it's not kind of long lists of homework and, oh no, you didn't do that this week, right? It's not that. It's how do you build your internal self-confidence, your self-authority to say, I really want this. And back to those judging voices. And I work with you to sort of really switch gear and say, no, you don't, you just don't need to listen to them. There's another voice that you can reach out to and listen to. And it's really to help people to stay committed to their quest. It's not, this grand kind of adventure where you have to be, pack your bags and make sure you have everything ready to go. Like
have all your tools and have your perfect notebook and your pens, and you're like motivated. That's how kind of how I feel I have to be. I'm like, oh
no. And one of the reasons I do what I do is because we can move through our careers and start our own businesses with distress and feeling absolutely awful and hiding under the table, or we can give ourselves grace but also boldness. And that's what I like to come with and say, like, I'm here with you along the way, but I also understand that, yeah, it feels like this. And I'm not going to say, oh, but why couldn't you just get there? Right. Like those,
right.
Right. We're not going to go into like, why? It's going to be, okay, the next thing and the next thing, and trying different approaches, because everyone needs something different. But when you try just doing the same thing and showing up to your desk every day and just sit there and feel like doom, it's just not going to keep work. It's just clearly not working for you.
Right. So try something else.
Try something else. And that's, coaching helped me along my way to move countries, to leave toxic situations, toxic jobs, to make the decision to start my own business. And so I felt the power of it. I still do. And it's really that kind of committed partnership, which I think helps us through on our way up in life. So
will you spell out your website just in case somebody, is listening and they're like, how do I spell that?
Sarah Hosein, so SarahHosein.com, sarahhosein.com. Or I think if you just Google me, Sarah Hosein Coach, it comes up. And yeah, and you can find sort of more details about the way I work, and just reach out to me, book a call in. You can just book a call and have a chat and see, we can sort of explore what you're up to and where you're trying to get to, and see where I can support you along the way.
Yeah, perfect. And if anyone does that, if any of you guys reach out to Sarah, I want to hear about it. So the ISA wants to hear, and we want to, congratulate you and help you on your journey. So let us know when you reach out to Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all these wonderful tips. I am taking them with me. If anyone has any questions or like you missed anything, you can always email me, Shayna@networkisa.org, which is SHAYNA, like it says on my little picture here. And I will send you the little acronyms. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. This was fantastic.
Loved being here. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to meet you all.
You as well.